An investigation into the shooting and the death of an Australian woman by the name of Justine Damond in Minneapolis has essentially turned up some indication as to why a cop opened fire, which led to her death. Investigators probing the death said that the officers were, quote, startled by a loud sound near their patrol car right before the shooting. So for those of you who might have missed this story earlier this week, the shooting occurred after Justine Damond had called the cops to report a possible sexual assault near her home, in the alleyway near her home. When the cops arrived, she went to go talk to them, and when she did so, allegedly they heard some noise that startled them, and the cop in the passenger side of the vehicle, Mohamed Noor, decided to open fire. And keep in mind that Justine Damond was speaking to the cop on the driver's side. So according to reports, Noor opened fire and shot through the driver's side door. And one shot hit her abdomen and tragically killed her. The officer who was driving the patrol car told investigators that right after the loud noise, Damond approached the car on his side. The officer who was in the passenger seat then fatally shot Damond through the driver's side window. Here's the thing. If you are a cop, if you are that easily startled, you should maybe reconsider being a cop,
yes.
Right? If you hear a noise and your first, idea is to open fire, you're not the right person to be a cop. Now, Noor is a rookie cop. He apparently got hired back in 2015. However, there were a number of complaints filed against him in just that short period of time. And I'll get to those details in just a second, but Brett, jump in.
Right, there's a lot of things that you start asking yourself when something like this happens, like aren't there body cams, details? I don't know if you reported on in previous days. Those body cams hadn't been activated. According to the police chief and different sources within the department, there are protocol that define when the body cam and then also the dash cam get activated. Dash cam is more automated, like when you flip on your siren, that starts being activated, but it's the way the protocol is now, it's on the police officers to, when they feel like they're going to be in danger and need to use force, then flip on the body cam on themselves and then go take the action. Or if it all happens so fast, once it's safe, they're supposed to turn it back on. These seem like red flags for me. This seems like we need to rethink the process behind all of this, because I seldom, as someone, like I get it, and the benefit of the doubt, I want the camera to be on to vindicate myself because I feel confident in whatever motivations I might have and how they might lead to different activities. But then again, you're just saying, like, if I want those cameras to be on all the time, at all times.
Yes.
It should be possible to document it. That shouldn't change the story of the cop who wants it to be on, who wants to flick it on to vindicate themselves. But I want to go around the person who might be keeping something secret, who wouldn't want something documented. And why leave it up to chance? Why can't we? I know that, like, hey Siri, I can say, and if I was in airplane mode because I'm such a conscientious host, it has been listening to me. And it would turn off. This even said Siri not available. There's ways to make it pre-tape and start pre-recording, and then afterwards activate it and make sure you save the time before. So if like battery life and space are an issue, those are things that you can overcome. But there are a lot of procedural issues that come up in question here, especially because I don't know what answers we're gonna get, because those answers would ostensibly come from some kind of documentation through videotape, which we didn't have because it wasn't on.
What I find interesting is that they are supposed to have, if they're on duty, they are supposed to have their cameras on. And this was a policy that was implemented, after all these controversial shootings took place in Minneapolis. But what I find fascinating is that, okay, you might make the argument that one cop forgot to turn on his body cam. But we're talking about two cops, who neither one of them had their body cam on. And then there was no footage from the dash cam. So essentially there's no evidence of what really occurred. And so people are understandably frustrated at the lack of transparency, the lack of details regarding what happened, and an innocent, nonviolent, loving, passionate, great person died that night after they made the mistake of calling cops to report a possible sexual assault in the alleyway.
Yeah.
And that's I mean, look, not only did someone lose their life, but think about what kind of messaging this sends to people who are already a little, skeptical about cops. Like, are you gonna trust cops? Look, I mean, this is a personal anecdote, so take it with a grain of salt, because I don't know if I represent a huge population of people, but I remember 2 years ago, there was a homeless woman who very clearly had mental health issues right outside my bedroom window, and she was completely naked. She was screaming out off the top of her lungs. She found like a hose across the street from where we were living and just started like hosing herself off. She's completely naked and she's screaming. And so I didn't know what to do, and I thought about calling the cops, and then I realized, no, I am not gonna call the cops. I don't know how they're gonna handle this situation. And that's coming from me, and I'm obviously from a place of privilege, right? I didn't grow up fearing the cops. I didn't worry about retaliation from cops or any type of harassment from them. But you hear about stories like this, and it makes you wonder or question whether or not calling them is the best solution for an issue like that.
I get that reticence, and again, there's also things like when the cops come, if they're dealing with that kind of a situation day in, day out. There's correlations that I've seen where if like cops respond to a call like a suicide on one day, the next day they're more likely to have a higher level response disproportionate to what's going on. So there's a lot that I just feel like we keep hearing and keeps getting said. In this situation, I reiterate all those things. And I don't want to get into like, I definitely hear what you say about like the police officer who, how could you be rattled? Because ostensibly we have situations in place for once you get rattled, dash cams on, everything going on.
Right.
How are you that easily startled? And a loud noise, and the fact that it takes days for this kind of information to come out, and now the only information that we have is coming from that police officer. Luckily, it seems that the chief of police is ordering an independent investigation, because that's another thing that we hear so often in these in situations where there's police have seemed to have shot someone who didn't do anything.
Right. And just to be clear, the officer who opened fire, Mohamed Noor, is refusing to talk to investigators, and investigators can't compel him or force him to speak. However, Matthew Harity, who is the other cop that was present during that encounter, he was the driver of the patrol car. He is speaking to authorities, and he's the one who released the statement regarding the startling noise.
Right.
And so we'll see how this case plays out, but people are understandably upset, and there needs to be a lot done to reform what we're seeing with police departments throughout the country. By the way, one other quick thing I wanted to mention is Noor has had a history of complaints, even though he was hired back in 2015. He's only been a cop for a short period of time. He currently has 3 complaints filed against him with the city's Office of Police Conduct Review, 2 of which are still open. The other was apparently somehow adjudicated, but we don't know the details of those complaints. They aren't releasing details about that. And we also know that he's facing a lawsuit by a woman who says that she was treated poorly by him.
Right.
All I'm saying is, man, if you see a pattern, this happens in whatever case it is, many times, there's patterns of how cops have previous either complaints or situations or questionable encounters in their record.
Right.
And there's a constant, oh, we'll just move on. Or you brought up the thing where maybe sometimes they're rattled because the day before they saw something traumatic. All of these things you can take into account, and it comes back to the top. Is this the only profession where the top doesn't have any responsibility? You know human beings may get rattled, and you have cops that have guns and have people's lives in their hands. If that's the case, maybe don't have them work that next day.
Right.
Or maybe have them on some other kind of beat the next day. Maybe it's office jobs for a while until you calm your ass down. Whatever the problem may be, fix it so it won't end up leading to something else that you're now in a cover-up mode about. If you work at a Ralph's grocery store, it's a local California store, and every shift, $20 is missing, and that's a routine. You're like, I see a pattern here. I think I'm gonna take Jeffrey off of check stand number 5 for a while until we figure out why this $20 keeps missing. They'll figure it out, trust me, if they're losing a little $20 of the millions they make. But if this guy has a history of being rattled or not able to handle situations, they go, we'll do a year-long review. Let them go back out there until we figure something else out. That isn't as important as losing a couple dollars.
Yeah.
And other jobs, when someone is under an open investigation that hasn't been closed yet, they're pulled off duty.
Yeah.
Like right now, the guy's off duty because of something like this. Why did it take this? I know that I would imagine that when you work a job like being a police officer, along the way, people are going to be upset with you no matter what, you know? And so there will be erroneous claims made, but like, have a way of classifying it so that we can not have someone out there when a pattern may or may not be establishing itself. But I am at least heartened by this independent investigation that they're bringing, because so often it seems like a lot of police officers have said it themselves, as well as outside watchdog groups have said. So often it's people within the same department who are investigating people they work with on a daily basis, whether it's the local law enforcement officials or the district attorney. And it is nice to hear that the chief of police is bringing in someone else to conduct an independent investigation. But so often I also hear the investigation happened. It seems like 6 or 7 months have passed since this was in the news, and we'll try to slip it in on a Friday that nothing is going to come of this.
Yeah,
and I hope
we see that happen far too often.
If you like this video, you probably like independent media. The best way to support independent media, become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.